Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Things We Play. My name is Mike Oldman. I am joined by the man, Sean Hart.
Hello.
The myth, Joseph Tanetta.
Hello.
And this is the legend. Episode 31. That's not really legendary. Season 1. No, episode 1 of season 4.
Yes.
New theme music. What you just heard there was a new piece of theme music. Anna Managuchi again. With the track Fast Turtle.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of cool.
I like the title.
Yeah, it'll grow on you. We'll actually be playing that in the break, the whole track, so you can listen to it then. But yeah, it's a great track. So, 7 lovely days have passed since we were last in this room collectively as a bunch talking about the games we played. Joe, how's your life been in those 7 days?
It's been pretty good,
Pretty good. Feeling good.
Yeah, I'm feeling
high on
good
life.
Today. Not really high on life, but
All right, no, don't bring it down. Don't get depressed about it. Stay positive.
I am positive. I'm just not high on life.
Right.
Life's good.
Why's your week been good?
I watched some good films this week.
Did you? Always questionable.
I watched Ted at the cinema.
Ted.
Yeah, gotta say it's the funniest film I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, the Seth MacFarlane it's basically a Family Guy movie, right?
Mm.
I mean, come on, right? It's a Family Guy movie. It's like Ted is both Brian and Peter Griffin in the same character with Mark Wahlberg.
At one point, Ted does go, I don't sound that much like Peter Griffin, do I?
So, well, yeah.
But,
you sound a lot like Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Is what it is, which is what most characters in Family Guy sound like. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's just so fucking funny, it's beyond belief.
Really?
Yeah, I was just laughing so hard through most of that film. I had tears running down my face at points.
Is it so? But so my only issue with it is it sort of smart humour? Because Family Guy skirts that line between sort of smart humour that I kind of like and then just dick jokes, which I don't really like.
I'd say a large part of it is dick jokes, but some of them are just fucking.
That's
hilarious.
what I kind of thought. It's kind of like that the audience that's going to go to it, they kind of want dick and fart jokes, right? They want a teddy bear smoking a bong and pretending to hump stuff. And it's like, do I really want that? Not necessarily, but...
Well, don't knock it until you tried it. You might want it, and you just don't realise.
True. I want to go and see it. I do want to see it.
I was surprised it was only a 15.
I didn't even realise it was out. How can it not be? How can it only be a 15? It's a teddy bear. You fool. Kids have teddy bears, man. 15-year-olds have teddy bears. 6-year-olds have teddy bears, Joe.
Mike, what are you trying to tell us? At 15, you had teddy bears.
Yeah.
We'll just leave that one hanging.
Right. Okay. None of them came to life and did weird, crazy shit, though.
Oh, man.
But okay, that's cool. So you saw Ted. Did you do anything else?
I watched Dark Knight Rises this week as well.
Oh, okay. How was that?
Not amazing. It was pretty average.
Amazing. How was Bane? How was his voice?
Bane was pretty fucking badass in that film.
Mr. Word.
He was awesome in that film, though.
Was
Bane.
he?
Yeah.
Did you see, this is quite old now, Dark Knight Rises chat, but hey, let's have it. Did you see the cool tan lines that Thomas Hardy had after wearing that stuff?
No.
Literally had this giant, like a suntan mohawk.
Right.
And obviously the stripes coming down the side of his face. It was fairly severe.
Wearing that mask a lot then while recording.
Yeah, exactly. It also looked pretty tight on his face, didn't it? You see his cheeks puffing through it, and it's like, damn, that doesn't look comfortable. Mr. Woden. Cool, you like that? No, you didn't really like it. You sort of liked it.
It was alright, It was confusing in places. They were they were making it confusing. I don't want to say too much on the podcast, but yeah.
They were making it confusing. Inception.
No, they were going places. Now, if you know, I hate you sometimes. I hate you so much.
Why was it too confusing for you, Joe?
It wasn't too confusing. It was just what they do with the Batman story. They just start lying to you about the Batman story, and if you know about Batman, it gets slightly confusing.
Okay. That's a very specific way of telling us exactly what it was. I'm sure everyone now has a clear idea of what you're talking about. That's cool. I do want to catch it. I found with this movie, because I haven't seen it yet, I've kind of lost interest quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm not that overly fussy. From what I understand, it's a Bruce Wayne movie and not Batman.
Yeah,
movie,
exactly.
Which is
and everyone's read
the first one.
Everyone knows and everyone's read online that Robin, and that's kind of the big twist, right? But there's no way of avoiding that now. I don't feel bad saying Robin because everyone fucking knows, and that's kind of killed a lot of it for me. So I will see it, but I think it's taught me that I'm not a massive Batman fan, and that Dark Knight was just really good.
Yeah, I think what was his name? The guy that died.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. I think he made number 2, really, didn't he, as Joker?
Oh, yeah, but everyone says this. I mean, I thought the Joker was cool. I don't know if Heath Ledger gave the performance of a lifetime for it, but the Joker was just cool. It was just like it was a cool character. Yeah.
I mean,
it was well written, I thought.
My issue with the whole Heath Ledger thing is that he got, obviously they gave him the little statue thing, Oscar, for best actor that year, didn't they? And if he would lived, there's no way on earth he would have got that Oscar.
No,
it's just the Oscars are just. Yeah, fuck you, Oscars. Fuck you and your little gold statues.
Well, they don't matter. Well, don't be so angry about the Oscars, because they don't affect our lives in any way. It's okay. It's cool. It's just,
But they kind of lie.
They kind of had to give him an Oscar, didn't they? At that point.
Yeah, they kind of lie on posters to like people going to cinema. They're nominated for 9 Oscars, and it's like, well, that's going to be rubbish. It's the English patient.
Reviews for that. I mean, that's the case for everything, isn't it? The same goes for game reviews. When you read the back of a magazine, and it goes like, "Yeah, faster than the speed of light." Xbox magazine. You're like, what does that mean? I don't know. And
it's always like it's got the 3 dots at the beginning and 3 dots afterwards, so it's taken completely out of context.
Yeah, exactly. These are the anti-context buttons. So that's always the best review I've ever heard, and I'd like to see on everything is just yes, and then quote from the man from Del Monte. I'd love to do a reviews website called Del Monte Reviews, and it's just every single thing he just says yes. And it's like yes, that would be good. So that's interesting. Speaking of actually death, it was a great loving segue to go into. Tony Scott died. I read on Twitter today. Which was nuts. Well, not only did Tony Scott die, he committed suicide.
Yeah, that was really weird when I first found out about it, because no one knows why he had done it at that point.
No, exactly. I mean, he's 68 years old, very successful director, everyone, much loved by, tons of people. Obviously, Ridley Scott, very successful brother. Weird for a 68-year-old to commit suicide. And he just jumped off a bridge.
Yeah.
And then, we were looking into it today, because, actually, first thing, when I told you, Sean, you were like, well, did he have cancer or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think so, because that was what I thought. But, yeah, he did. He had inoperable brain cancer. So, I guess that is why you decide to take your own life at 68 years old, if that's the case. I mean, the suicide note's not been published or anything. God knows if it will or if any details will come out, but seemingly that's got to be the reason. But that's terrible. Tragic loss. Top Gun, man. Top Gun. Whether you like Top Gun or not, Top Gun.
It's an iconic
Everyone
movie,
knows
so,
Top Gun,
And didn't he do Days of Thunder as well?
Days of Thunder, yeah. So, yeah, big sort of tragic loss, that, and kind of a weird thing. I know you hate True Romance, Sean, but it's one of my favourite films. I freaking love that film. So
I loved Unstoppable. I know people don't like it, but I loved it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. But, yeah, so, tragedy. How's your week been, Sean?
Yeah, relatively uneventful. Ella can now ride a bicycle.
Yes,
that was achieved today.
That's pretty cool.
She can't start by herself, but I hold the back seat. She pedals for a couple of paces and I let go, and she's off like a rocket.
Can she stop all right as well?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Stopping.
Just aims for the nearest tree or bin,
pond,
and then like, it's fine. The brakes. You don't need to worry about brakes then.
There's stuff to break for her.
That's pretty cool news. That's kind of a big event.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Built her a new bed today.
Oh, building furniture. IKEA.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was relatively painless.
What was it called? What was the IKEA furniture? Was it called?
No idea.
Molokov.
Bed.
Or Niyama.
Kalashnikov.
It's got like weird names, haven't they? That's right. So you built it and it was fine.
Yeah.
Is it shaped like a race car?
No.
Or a unicorn?
No.
Or a spaceship?
No.
Shitbed.
Yeah, well, obviously we know your famous race car bed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It goes faster than the speed of sleep.
Xbox magazine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, says the man from Del Monte. That's pretty cool.
Other than that, I've played a lot of Sleeping Dogs and watched a crap movie.
Yeah, I haven't done much this week, to be perfectly honest. It's been hot. It's just getting so hot. It's unreal.
It's crazy.
It just slows down all possible movement. And, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go inside. I don't know where I want to be. So that kind of sucks. I took a trip to London this week, midweek, for just to experience extreme heat in a metal tube underground.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Especially in rush hour.
But it did teach me the Olympics were over, and the Olympics kind of completely passed me by this year. much like they did last year and the year before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even realise. I watched the opening ceremony of the Olympics. We didn't talk about it at all on the show, but I watched the opening ceremony. Yeah, whatever, hoo-ha. And then the Olympics were just gone. And that was it. And I went to London thinking, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos for the Olympics. And I got there and it was perfectly fine. But then I did see, whilst I was on the underground, a big projection onto the wall that said, we won 29 gold medals. And I was like, oh, nice. Good work.
Yeah, it's the best England's done in
100 years.
104 years, I do believe it is.
Okay.
Or Great Britain, I should say.
Yeah. So I obviously don't care about the Olympics.
No.
But it was just kind of weird to go, oh, that was quick. That seems like a lot of effort and a lot of money for something that was over very quick. It should, with the amount of money spent on the Olympics, it should last 4 years. You know, that's what it should do. We should just host the Olympics until the next Olympics. But, you know, there you go. What can we do? Aside from that, yeah, likewise, playing a lot of games. So let's get straight into our games chat then. Sleeping Dogs came out last week.
Yes.
Came out on Friday. So, yeah, let's chat about Sleeping Dogs. Obviously, this game, Troubled. It's true crime. It's troubled true crime.
Yes.
Started off many, many moons ago. Get comfy, everyone. We'll tell you the story of Sleeping Dogs. Many, many moons ago, there was a wise old man who dreamt of making a video game. This video game was called Black Lotus. It featured a female protagonist and was made by Luxoflux, who made the previous true crime games. Activision picked up this wise man's dream and decided that actually no one wants to play as a chick. So we're going to make it a true crime game. Yeah, because you guys did true crime anyway. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And then, Activision just turn around and go, actually, this game ain't shit. And by that I mean it is. And so it's not going to sell enough. We only want to sell 5 million bazillion copies of every game we put out. So we're getting rid of a load of stuff. And they threw true crime out. They threw it out with the bathwater. So Square Enix came in and we were like, hey, what's this bathwater? They were like, this looks good. This looks like a true crime game that could be all right. And bear in mind, at this point, actually, there were previews of True Crime Street Hong Kong.
Yeah. There's loads of stuff.
Yeah, and like CVG wrote an article saying best open world game ever. Like, there's a lot of this came out like days before Activision went, no, fuck that, it's gone.
Yeah.
So Square Enix just came in and went, yeah, we've got like a bit of bob left over. We can give you that, and we'll make it a game. Incidentally, when Activision turned it from Black Lotus into True Crime, they also got rid of Luxoflux. Luxoflux was shuttered as a studio, and it went to United Front Games.
So, Activision, did they own Luxoflux at that time?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So it was in the house.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was one of their studios. So I think they did anyway, but they closed Luxoflux. They moved it on to United Front Games, who were making True Crime. Then Activision threw them away, or threw the game away rather. Square Enix picked it up, dropped the True Crime name, did some work on it, turned it into Sleeping Dogs, again with United Front, and here it is. It's not been without its issues.
I would have preferred the title Black Lotus.
I think Black Lotus and Sleeping Dogs are both terrible names. Sleeping Dogs isn't a great name for it. It doesn't really shout out much about it. But this game's alright.
Yeah, it seems to be a fair few people playing it on my friends list.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's actually turned out really quite nice. So explain it then. If you've played any of the True Crime games, it's a True Crime game, which by and large is a GTA game.
Yeah.
It's set in Hong Kong, and you play, what's his name, Wei Shen. And Wei Shen is an undercover police officer in like Triad country, right?
Yeah.
And that's just it's just standard GTA conceit, yeah, of you are good guy doing bad things. That's how they let you get away with it. And it's cool. Hong Kong, I must say, first of all, the setting is brilliant. I think the actual Hong Kong setting is really good. It looks just gorgeous. And looks very different to any other open world game that I think you've played before.
Yeah.
The way the streets sort of wind around each other, and because it's quite compact. Because Hong Kong's quite small in comparison to sort of like any of the GTA games or anything like that. But it's all multi-tiered in that sort of Asian way, yeah? Of like stuff goes round lots of corners and on top of stuff, and it's all very cluttered. So there's lots of hidden areas. To search the city is quite tricky.
Yeah.
Because of the way the map's laid out. But it didn't feel small to me.
In that respect, it's kind of very similar to True Crime Streets of LA in the structure, because LA was based on the map of LA. It has all that weird spaghetti highway stuff, which was a nightmare to navigate in game. It was just horrible. But Hong Kong's a bit easier to navigate, certainly.
It's a strange map because it isn't very big.
No.
And
it has just like a massive chunk that you cannot access, which is behind the wall.
Oh, where?
It's if you come into kind of around the north-west side, and as you kind of travel down the west, there's just like a large grey area, and it appears if you kind of try and angle the camera upwards, it looks like there's a mountain there. But you can't. It's kind of fuzzy.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because the map is laid out weird. It's sort of like an island, and there's 3 sections that you can get into. So there are like 3 smaller town bits, and there's just the centre, which is grey, and you can't get through.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we're confusing people if they've not seen it. So the map is open for everyone. It's not blocked off in any way.
No,
old games or anything like that. But it's not the whole of Hong Kong.
No.
And I think this is where maybe possible DLC will look into that and maybe add stuff. They've committed to a lot of DLC on it, and it looks as though it's likely that new areas will come from that. But that's just,
hypothesizing.
Yeah, at this point. So to talk about the game then, it's standard GTA fare, but what got me the most is this game's really short. It's really short. I mean, so I finished all the story missions in 13 hours, okay, which is still 13 hours. It's a good solid chunk of gaming, right?
Yeah.
But for an open world game, that's very short. Now you could argue, all right, take something like Just Cause 2. If you were going to play all the story missions and that, you could do that in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Just the story missions, yeah? But in 13 hours, I've done all the missions. And now come 20, I've done almost everything. There's a few race challenges and some collectibles left. And that's it. I think if I'd have really wanted to, in 20 hours, I could have done the game, completely maxed it out. And that is very short for an open world game.
Yeah, I've not looked at my clock to see what kind of time I'm putting in at the moment. I've not finished. I think I'm getting relatively close to the end, as the story's starting to kind of crescendo a bit. But I've not felt it particularly short. I think the way you played it, you gave a very intense burst at the beginning.
Well, I played for 13 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, without stopping. I've done it in two sessions. Yeah, so a 13-hour session and a 7-hour session.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but even so with that, it's just sort of the level of completion that I'm at for the game, I wouldn't expect to hit for like 30 or 40 hours.
Yeah.
This isn't a game that's going to last me ages, is my point. Because the other flip side of what we've been saying about Sleeping Dogs off air is that, yes, it's an open world game. No, it's not a sandbox game. There's not a lot of dicking around and making your own fun in this game. There's sort of, do this. It very strictly says, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And for that, it's kind of good. The side missions are kind of beautifully integrated with the main missions.
Yeah.
It's not like I, in my 13-hour stint, beelined for all the story missions and just ran through that. I did a whole bunch of other stuff on the way. But this isn't a game that's going to last me 6 months. You know, I'm glad they've said 6 months worth of DLC because I need it. Because this game, otherwise, in another 4 hours, I'm not going to play it ever again.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I mean, I really liked it. It's polished and it looks nice. It's one of the best open world games that I think has come out in a while. But it didn't feel like GTA. Felt like Assassin's Creed or Batman to me.
Well,
like a small open world.
It's got stronger ties to Batman anyway than any
With
other.
the combat, yeah, certainly. Because so what do you guys think about the combat, especially you, Sean? Because you're a big fan of Batman games, and the combat is very similar.
Yes, it is really, really solid. Initially, when you start playing it, it feels a bit ropey. But I think when you start to unlock moves and you get more variety added to your assortment of combat, that it feels a lot tighter.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because now when I play it and now I've maxed out everything, I've got every move. The combat is very different. I've got a lot more options. And when we say you've got a lot of options, you don't have a lot of options in the combat. It's quite simple.
Yeah.
In your basic moveset, you've got obviously your punches, your throws, your counters,
yeah,
and then various changes you can modifiers you can put on that. So whether you're grabbing them from behind or whether you're running when you do it and stuff like that. But that's it. There's not really much else to do. There's not a lot of combos in the game, surprisingly, and there's not a lot of button combinations that you do either.
No.
But the combat has opened up for me. What I found really annoying was that the game, although the game, I think it's really weird because I think the game overall teaches you or lays everything out very explicitly, very early on, and almost too much. Game's always telling you, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do. And it's like, whoa, let me explore. Don't treat me like a retard. It's like the collectibles in the game. They all show up on your radar.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
those are perks that them showing up on the radar.
yeah, but they're perks that you will get,
yes,
and you can't not get. And by the time you're getting to the collectibles, I guess you've already got it. And it's just kind of a case of go here, grab that, go here, grab that. And The game's kind of always doing that. The bit where it introduces shooting to you in the game and it tutorializes how the shooting works is so ham-fistedly forced. It's unreal. I don't know if you've seen... You must have seen that section, yeah. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, no, I've been through that section.
The bit where you're recreating a crime scene?
Yeah.
And it's a weird sort of like, is this a dream sequence? Or is this actually happening? Or am I actually killing people? But it really forces you to go, yes, now you've got to get behind this cover and use it. And that's strange. But then for the combat, it doesn't show you stuff.
No, it teaches you the basics very quickly early on in a lot of respects, and then it doesn't teach you anything about other aspects. For example, car jumping, it doesn't teach you that until like 2/3 of the way through the game, until it requires you to do it.
But there's some stuff that just doesn't ever tell you. And it's fair enough for it to go, here's the basics, and then you figure the rest out, but it doesn't do that. It doesn't give you an opportunity to figure the rest out. So in combat in particular, one of the things that's going on about is that you can run up walls, jump off a wall and fly and kick someone, spin and it's a move, it's an actual move. And at no point in the game does it ever tell you that's even possible.
No, but you have. You've told me that's possible, so I'm going to go home and do that too.
But the game never told me that, and the game never taught me to look for that.
Yeah.
Which is my issue. It's not, if it had said, do this, and by the way, there's more stuff, and experiment with it and try and see if that's possible, then I'd find it. But it never told me that. There was no reason to believe that it ever did. And I think you could get through the game, and I think if I hadn't mentioned it, you would get through the game without ever doing that.
Yeah, certainly.
And it's a shame because it's badass.
Yeah.
So there's a few things like that which really sort of...
Yeah, one of my problems with combat as well is the different types of enemies. I know it's like quite easy to see who's who if you lock on, but I never use lock on because it just like constricts
lock on's quite clunky, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't work well at all, so I always fight outside of it.
Yeah.
But it's like when you come up against a grappler, I use like grab loads because I'm still at the beginning and I haven't unlocked any new moves. I keep grabbing grapplers by accident and they just nut you out the way.
Yeah.
Because it's hard sometimes to see who's who.
I think once you've played enough, you instantly recognise what character type is what character type.
Yeah, well, and also as the game progresses, you get different abilities, so it all becomes then about your face meter.
Yeah.
Because then once your face meter's powered up, you can grapple grapplers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you unlock the perk.
You know, and
you negate all of their perks basically.
Yeah. So then combat changes halfway through the game. It doesn't become about bashing people and timing it so much. It becomes about raising your little yellow face meter bar up to the point, because then when that's glowing, then you can disarm people automatically when they've got stuff, and you can grapple grapplers, and also as you progress, you can do the continually punch them in their face while they're on the floor until they die, which is awesome. It just jumps on them. You know that move where if you run at someone, tackle onto the floor, and then you can punch them once?
Yeah.
Once you get to a certain point in the game, that levels up, and it becomes a constant punch until they die.
Okay.
So that one move will take out every move, but it takes ages. but it's something you do. So it all becomes about charging that bar by doing your special moves, breaking people's arms and breaking people's legs. The combat's it's brutal.
It is.
I thought the environmental kills, although really cool, were a little lacking. There wasn't enough variety in them, which is kind of a sad thing to say because there are loads.
Yeah. But they're delivered at very specific points as well.
Yeah, well, there's a couple that you will only do once.
Yeah, like the meat hooks and...
Yeah, the meat hooks is a bit... I think the meat hooks you get a couple of times there, but there's one very particular thing that you definitely only do once, and there's a couple of other things, which is a bit of a shame, considering the amount of fans on the side of walls that you'll ram people's heads into.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do have some cool environmental ones as well. It's like the first time I threw someone for a fish tank, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But others are just like, yeah, that's really shit. Why am I ramming someone's head through a speaker?
No, that's all right. I like the speaker one. I don't have a problem, I think, with any of them, apart from putting people in bins. It's a bit naff.
Kicking someone in a phone box.
Hitting someone with the phone is the particularly brutal one. But they're not. And the arm breaks and the leg breaks are savage.
Yeah.
They're like really, really savage. The only thing I would say about the combat then that I like is, first of all, I think it's better than Batman's. I don't think it's as tight a system as Batman's combat, but I think it's more accessible, and I think it's more appealing to people. Because this looks brutal, it looks like Batman, and the environmental kills really break it up. I think if you didn't really get on with Batman's combat, or you found it a little bit too tough, this is a little easier.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really get on with Batman's combat. I found it really tough. And this I don't. But then the flip side of this is the animation is nowhere near as smooth as Batman's. No. It's when you interrupt a punch with a counter, it sometimes blurs the lines a little bit, and sort of the counter system works in the same way as Batman. When a guy flashes red, you hit the Y button and you will counter him.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you've hit it in time, no matter what's happening, you'll counter him. But sometimes that will snap out of whatever it is you're doing to make that happen, and that can be a little clunky. weapons can be tough as well, as you were saying, Joe.
Yeah, it's like if someone... I find combat easy up until you get 3 guys with knives, and it's just like, it's always just trying to... You just stand there and just wait for them to come at you and counter it first, because you have no way of disarming or anything like that. You're just sort of standing there waiting for the red glow.
Well, there's also some really bad... I think there's a couple of really bad boss fights, I'll call them, ish, where you're fighting one random dude who he may not have a weapon, or he might have a weapon, but you definitely can't grapple him. You literally the only way you'll take him down is counter him, just constantly counter, and that feels a bit weak. But overall, I thought the combat was wicked.
Yeah, I don't know. Fighting bosses was quite aggressive. I would just lay into them. Obviously, they do block a lot, but roundhouse kicks and stuff knock them out of it.
Yeah, it's got challenge rooms in it as well, essentially, just like Batman's.
Has it?
Yeah, the martial arts clubs.
Not really.
It's just
exactly the same as challenge rooms.
But carry on.
How are they different to challenge rooms? You fight waves of enemies. You fight 6 waves of enemies getting bigger each time. What do you do in a challenge room?
Yeah, you do.
Tell me the difference.
I
want to know.
It's not accessible from a menu.
No, it's not a separate menu.
Right, but I would have liked that.
Sure, but you can go and play it in the same way as many times as you want, over and over again, to rack up a score or whatever. And it's the same. You play the same way. You're playing on groups. If combat's your thing, go to the martial arts clubs and you can just keep doing it. So, yeah, the game's cool. I think the music's awesome in the game. The in-car radios are really, really good.
I predominantly just listen to Ninja tunes.
Probably one of the best ones. I think it's got some really awesome stuff in it. But I think the music choice is really good. It's not the standard tracks you would always get in every single open world game that's set in a city. Yeah. There are some bits.
You've got classical
station. There's some Queen and there's some Thin Lizzy on there, but they're not the tracks that you'd ordinarily get. And I like that. And it's got licensed stations. It's got Kerrang and Roadrunner and Boozy and Hawks and stuff. And that really was a nice touch. What was an even nicer touch about the radio, which I thought was particularly cool, you can change the volume.
Yeah,
you can lower the volume and raise the volume in the car, which is really simple, but also
very effective.
I really like it.
And no one else has done it.
No, just absolutely balmy.
Moving on from car radios is like the cars themselves, because they are just shocking handling. Some of those cars. Yeah,
the driving I think is one of those divisive things actually, and it always is with any open world game, right? The cars are always the thing that people are going, oh, this handles like shit, or this handles great. People said about GTA, the cars handle badly, and I think in fairness they were a little bit rough. And same for like Saints Row and things and all sorts. I don't like the car handling in this. It's that freaking handbrake, man. It's the maniac brake.
I think you're just too heavy-handed with your handbrake.
It's not. I can
effectively use.
I can drive no problem. I've done it for 20 hours. I had to nail it, but the handbrake's still crazy. When you press the handbrake, your wheels just spin like a mother.
Yeah, see, that's already you've said the wrong word. Press. You want to tap.
Yeah, well, depending on what you want to do.
You'll just take those corners.
I think the key is that you need to be accelerating at the same time as you do it. You can't take your hand off the accelerator and handbrake. It doesn't work. But it's like a crazy power drift, isn't it?
Well, that's what it's called, drift. It's not handbrake, it's called drift.
They call it the emergency brake.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because when it pops up to tell you the buttons, it pops up as drift.
It is a drift, yeah. And that's exactly what it does. Yeah. It does a very Mod Nation thing. It does a very kart racing style drift. I think for the bikes, it's brilliant. I think the bikes are phenomenal. I think you've got so much control over them and tiny control over them. Like you can spin on the spot and just weave around everything. But for the cars, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy. Yeah, that drift button's crazy.
Yeah, my main problem is the brake, because I don't use handbrake in games. I very rarely use it. I always use brake.
No fun Joe doesn't use handbrakes in games.
It's just a habit.
It's like the one thing that the games were made for was for the handbrake, because it's the one that you can't do in real life.
I know, but it's just habit that I use brake, and on this, it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
it's like there's the level where you're using a minibus. That thing just will not break in.
Actually, I played that mission again today because I was replaying some stuff, which I'll tell you why as well in a bit. But I did that mission again with the bus, and you're right, the bus does not stop.
No, it just won't pull the handbrake and it will just keep going. It's like, stop! I need to stop here.
I couldn't explain that because all the vehicles, they're all fine. They all kind of work, and regardless of what you think of the handbrake, going forwards and stopping is fine on them. But the bus. The bus don't stop. The bus just doesn't stop. And it's not like you're going really fast. But you're cruising along and you're going like, I don't know, 40 miles an hour. And then once you try and brake, it then suddenly feels like you're going 140 miles an hour. And you're like, I won't stop. And I'm a bus and I'm careering through people and things. And so I just want to stop at the station. What I quite like about it is that all of the markers when you're in a car that you go to, the standard stuff you get in an open world game, the glowing spot you have to stop on, this will automatically stop you. So you can charge into it 400 miles an hour and it will just go, and you're like, fine. Oh, thank God.
Halfway through the mission, I started using like handbrake and brake at the same time, just to try and get to stop in a straight line.
Yeah.
But because of its terrible braking, and I didn't realise how bad it was at first, when you're doing the trace against the other minibus, I completely lost it. I hit a fucking wall.
Yeah.
And
it's weird. I don't know what it is about that one bus, but it just does not stop. It's really tricky.
Yeah.
Maybe your position cut the lines.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, I think the cars are pretty cool. There's some fast cars in that game. Some really fast cars.
Yeah. The A-class stuff.
Yeah, and actually going on from that, the races are pretty good. For considering, every open world game has these sort of very standard side missions. Yeah. But the racing missions are actually really good. Yeah. They're actually proper, decent races, and they take place within the city.
Yeah.
So there's stuff going on at the same time, and it's cool. You've got your shunting mechanics, so you can wheelman style take people out.
Yeah.
Which I actually found is not worth doing in races as well.
No.
Just racing.
Yeah.
So I really kind of like that. The story for this game as well, going on from that, is just the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Like, that is the story of the game. I find it has more in common with that than it does any Hong Kong cinema.
Maybe
it doesn't feel very Hong Kong cinema to me.
They try and bring it back to Hong Kong because you've kind of got one mission. You've got a speedboat race, haven't you, around the harbour, which is a very kind of John Woo thing to put in there. Face Off, The Killer.
Yeah. It feels to me more like a homage, where it's grabbing bits. A fight at a funeral, a gunfight at a wedding, a speedboat chase. It's in Hong Kong. It's like grabbing the hot spots.
I think they used the background to kind of make it feel Hong Kong.
But then
but it takes most of its cues from American cinema.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, the story is exactly the Fast and the Furious. Dude undercover. Oh my God. Getting too close to people. Oh no, I'm not going to respect my authority anymore because I've created a bond with this character. No, I'm using him to get to the guy above him, and he's not really the bad guy. The guy above is the bad guy, and then suddenly your superiors will take down your friend, and no, you can't do that. And it's Fast and the Furious, man. It's Fast and the Furious, which is not terrible.
I haven't played that much of the story.
No, well, you've seen Fast and Furious, right?
Yeah.
None of that stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of Fast and Furious. I don't think I've watched it all the way through, so it was never really a concern. I'm quite engrossed in the story.
It's pretty good. I think it's good. I mean,
the voice acting in it is superb.
Voice acting is very, very good. Very natural, I think. There's some really good sort of just hesitation and delivery of some of the dialogue, which is just brilliant. And I realise it's got some famous people in there. It's got Emma Stone and Lucy Liu in it and stuff, although not for very long.
Right.
Or, they don't seem to have done very much voice work. But this game is serious. It's deadly serious. I think that's the flip side. When we were saying it's not a sandbox because there's not much emergent fun to be had on your own part. There isn't. It's deadly serious. It's more serious than Grand Theft Auto. It's obviously infinitely more serious than Just Cause 2 and Saints Row.
Yeah.
But it's deadpan. It's just some bad shit's going to happen in this place, and you're going to see some nasty stuff. But the game isn't very funny. It never even really tries to be funny.
No, there's not much humour in there at all.
And that's something that's really quite weird because the exaggerated stuff and the humour is something that we've grown very much familiar with in terms of open world games.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were going for, just to try and break it apart from the others.
Yeah,
just and more of a serious route.
I think it's one of those things that does set it apart. I think they were going for more of that sort of Red Dead vibe in that idea, of sort of a grown-up game in that respect. And this is not Red Dead. This is not even close to Red Dead.
No.
In terms of polish and message and the craftsmanship involved, this is not Red Dead Redemption. But it's still a very, very good game. What I did find interesting about it is you've got a leveling system, obviously, that goes through your character. So there's a number of skill trees. There's like 4 different skill trees, right? You've got your cop skill tree, you've got your triad skill tree, you've got your combat skill tree,
and your face,
and you've got your face level. So there's quite a lot going on there. One of the issues that I've had, and the reason I was replaying that bus level that I mentioned earlier, was your triad abilities. The triad skill tree. I haven't maxed it out. They each go to level 10. I'm at 9 3/4 for my triad stuff. And like I say, I've put 20 hours into the game. There's very little for me left to do. Now, in anything that I'm actually doing in the world, race missions or collectibles or something, nothing will earn me triad points.
No.
Nothing.
Literally just the main missions.
Exactly. And I've done all those. So there is nothing left in the game to earn me triad points, and I still need triad points.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is you have to go back and replay missions, which actually, let's give them some kudos for that, because that's a feat in itself. Most open world games don't let you replay missions, and that's pretty cool. But I have to replay them. I have to replay the triad missions to do it. And the way you'll earn more points from doing the missions is not just by doing it again and adding the triad points back on, which would be simple and effective and easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I've got to do better in those missions, essentially get a higher triad score than I had previously.
Be more brutal than you were before.
The problem is, I've gone back through my missions, and they're marked out of 3, and I'm on like 2.5 for all of them, and 3 for a whole bunch of them. It looks like I've almost got to get 3 completes on every single mission in order to just unlock that final triad point.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, because the other ones, the face level, the combat, and the police, you upgrade so quickly.
Yeah.
You're constantly flying through. The police one, admittedly, is easy, you know, because you don't really level it up. You more just sort of lose it by being a twat.
Yeah.
You know, when you run down people or crash or whatever, or cause damage to property, you lose your police level. But the triad one's kind of tricky. It's more to do with your combat and how you're taking people out and destroying vehicles and whatnot. So that was a bit of a pain in the arse. I've also just found, really, at this point, there's nothing for me to do. There's nothing for me to do.
Yeah, it's a kind of tricky thing with open world games. I mean, Spider-Man was the same. Amazing Spider-Man. When you've cleared the city of side missions, it's just boxes.
Yeah.
So right.
But do you not? I think don't you still have stuff going on in the world that you can interact with, like people wanting your help or crimes?
They're side missions.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're all gone.
Yeah, finished them, did them all. So
there's no end game to that. There's just nothing.
It just stays open world with an empty city. You can just go back and play the missions over again.
Yeah, see, that's nuts, and that's what this does.
Yeah,
it comes to a point where there's nothing, and it's really weird for that to happen.
I mean, at least with kind of true crimes, I was going to call it, with sleeping dogs, you can literally go out and just start beating up cab drivers. You can't do that in Spider-Man.
But then I would argue Spider-Man's not a similar game though. In that respect. It's less open world than that, isn't it? It's more of a story. But even things like Just Cause or anything like that, which again doesn't have much of an end game to it, but comes after 100 hours.
Yeah.
This came after 13.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot to do afterwards, which is that's just strange. I feel like they've missed a trick.
Yeah.
With that.
You can always go to karaoke bars, dude.
You can go to karaoke bars, but why would you want to do the karaoke stuff? What did you think of that?
Fucking first time I played it, I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? It was like I was playing it and my brother was with me, and we were both just like, what the fuck? I can't even remember. What's the first song as well that it puts on?
I thought the law and the law one.
I was just like, what a random song to do it with. Yeah. And you just there, just like using the analog stick, and I'm just like, why?
So we should explain. It's almost like a Guitar Hero mini game where you're moving an arrow up and down over certain notes that come down a bar screen. It's kind of cool. It looks because it's such a huge part of Hong Kong culture,
and it looks also like the singing section from
SingStar or anything like that. Yeah, and it's quite cool. There is actually a mission later in the game where you have to go to a karaoke bar and sing badly.
Oh, really?
One of the missions. I suggest when you do that, and do take my advice on this, right? Miss every note.
Right.
Okay. And do Aha's Take on Me.
Okay.
Okay, because that is the most surreal experience where I'm playing a video game and I'm deliberately making a character on screen sing Take on Me badly. It's weird. It's really weird. But that was kind of cool. I thought you only really go there for like the dating missions with the ladies, don't you?
That's kind I've done one where it's in the karaoke bar.
That's kind of the only times you really go to the karaoke bars is with women in the game, because your character sleeps with everyone.
Yeah,
he just sleeps with absolutely everyone he meets, and it actually gets him in trouble.
Oh, really?
At some point, yeah. So that's it's Wei Shen.
But I mean, I thought the variety within missions was relatively good.
Oh, it's awesome. I think the missions are really good. It doesn't follow that same format that most of these games do, where it's just the same mission reskinned over and over again. Yeah. Like, it's not always a fetch mission where it's like, go and get me this car, and then the next person would be like, go and get me these diamonds from a shop, and it's always the same thing. It doesn't really do that as much. No. It does more effort's gone into differentiating those, which is really good. It's something Just Cause 2 did terribly. When you're going to the strongholds, they're always the same. Yeah. A good example in this is there's one character who's a side mission who you meet who's like a bad triad-y dude who always gets himself in shit, You'll know when I talk about him.
Calvin.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember his name. But he's the guy. Wei Shen's always like, all right, you need to really learn how to drive if you're going to get in these situations.
Yeah, awesome.
Don't shoot anyone. And this dude always just goes, I won't, and then just wanders into a shop, murders 30 people, and then goes, get me out of here.
Yeah, it's like when I first come across him, I walk up to this guy for a side mission. It's like, yeah, can you just give me a lift? Just wait 1 minute. He just like comes out and he's just like, yeah, I've just robbed this place, and you just like trying to escape the cops.
No,
like,
the first mission is he walks up to a cop and punches him in the face.
It's
and
this
he's
dude just
along,
always
and
gets
he's
in trouble.
You know, that guy's sleeping with my girlfriend. Is she actually a girlfriend?
So the point of that is that like it's the same mission over and over again. It's just avoid the police. But the setup is different, and that's where it gets smart. There's one point where you go and meet him in a car park of a police station, and you're chatting to him, and you know by this point it's the bit of humour. Yeah, you know this bit's coming. And you're chatting to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I haven't done anything. Then all of a sudden, every single car in the car park explodes. And that's when it kicks off, and that's cool. It's a nice way of starting out, and that level of effort is good. That does differentiate them, because the side missions I think blend perfectly seamlessly with the main missions. And it's not always, in fact, very clear what is, at first, a main mission and a side mission. Because you are working for two factions. You're working for the police and the triads. So there are almost, for a point, there's like two story missions coming off, and then they eventually sort of cross over.
I mean, my favourite mission type was when you're just rolling around with someone. I particularly like the mission with King, who's like the American rapper who's doing a deal with one of the triad guys. And that's where you go to the karaoke bar with him and stuff. And I really like that mission. I thought it was really good.
It's cool. The outfit's pretty cool. You got customization in your character. I like the way that's handled with the perks you get. If you with different combinations of outfits that you put on, different tops, trousers, and shoes, you get different bonuses depending on what you're wearing. So
it's
like
very RPG.
Yeah, like a 15% buff on your triad XP that you'll be earning, or melee damage, or stuff like that, which is kind of nice. There's also some good nods in there. There's like Bruce Lee's Game of Death outfit, although it doesn't have the sleeves rolled up. No. But that's okay. And there's also like a Shenmue outfit. There's the jacket. Yeah,
I actually think I'm wearing that jacket. Yeah,
there's that. I mean, the game feels quite a lot like Shenmue in a lot of places.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff that's not necessary in it. Mahjong poker. You played any Mahjong poker? That's in there. Done any cockfighting? All that. Yeah. Really weird, random. Never really need to do it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I find that a bit strange. Kind of nothing attached to it. Achievements are attached to some of that stuff.
I mean, it's just kind of, we've tried to make some form of effort for you to do something.
And we're making the world more populated and real.
It's like, they do it for those. They have those like medal rewards for like putting 50 people through environmental attacks. It's for those as well, ain't it? So it's like, and 2 million like Hong Kong dollars through gambling gets you a gold in that area.
Right.
But back on outfits, it was like, I like the way that if you played Just Cause 2, there's Rico's outfit there in your wardrobe.
Yeah, which gives you
carjacking bonus.
Yeah, even though carjacking shit.
So actually, we should talk about that as well, because this is where the game does sort of, I think it's lied a little bit, hasn't it? The trailer made it look like the carjacking was straight out of Just Cause, or Pursuit Force, or something like that.
More Pursuit Force,
and it's not the case at all. You can leap from a car or a bike onto another car.
I think it works a lot better from a motorcycle.
Yeah. But that's all you can do. You can't then stay on top of that vehicle. It automatically gets in, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because I would like that sort of stunt position vibe that you get from Just Cause 2.
Yeah, certainly.
And also, I would like to be able to leap to bikes and leap to other things. And I just can't. You've also got to be so close to the vehicle to do it.
Yes, you're practically on top.
And it's a bit janky in the way it works as well. Sometimes I'm like either shooting past the car or I'm ramming into the back of it, and it's like, make that arrow go green, please.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it just won't happen.
You have to be just off the side and just behind it.
It does look brutal when I love the sound of him landing, crashing onto the fucking roof of a car. And that's kind of wicked. He also keeps his helmet on until he gets out, which is kind of sweet.
Motorbikes, he does it as well.
Yeah. So that's all right. It's also cool if you jump onto the side of a truck actually, and he doesn't get in. You got to shimmy along the sides.
Oh yeah. You do it with the Nox fans.
Yeah, that can look pretty cool. But it's a bit disappointing in how limited that is. There's not a lot of stunting in it. One thing I did find that was pretty cool though is if you press the A button to get ready and he like leans out the car door.
Yeah.
Just use your car door, take out everything. I just like go along the sidewalk and just open the car door and slam down a load of people or bikes. That I quite liked. And he looks wicked when he stands on a motorbike.
Yeah,
he gets ready to come off and say,
Well, that is his Rico jump position, isn't it? Stunt position.
What I kept finding when I was first playing the game is because when you play an open world game, A is generally handbrake, I kept pressing A to handbrake and it opened the door. And I was like, why is he opening the door?
Yeah. Well, actually, I had some issues with the controls. I'm still not convinced the control layout is the best, is the optimized thing for it. I got over a certain amount of time into the game, and bear in mind I played all in one stint, so it's possible for my mind to be slightly losing it after that level of time. But especially in fights, I got to the point where buttons just stopped making sense. I just lost, like, I don't know, that button's not what I expected it to be.
I think that's sleep deprivation.
And I think the buttons are a bit, I don't know, I question some of them, like in particular shooting when you're in a vehicle. Sometimes it's triggers, sometimes it's bumpers, and sometimes it's both.
Yes, it depends whether you're a passenger or a driver.
Yeah, and that's weird. That could just be consistent throughout the whole thing. So there's some stuff.
I mean, we should talk about shooting. I haven't spoken that much about shooting because you play like almost 50% of this game without handling the gun once.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's totally focused on combat,
Martial
isn't
arts,
it? Hand combat, and even to the point of where you don't carry guns in it. You can carry a pistol, but you don't.
He would dispose of it for absolutely almost any reason at all.
Yeah. You don't hold on to weapons.
You take a piss in your toilet and suddenly your gun's gone.
Yeah,
it's really bizarre.
So it's not about gunplay at all.
But
and yet there's loads of it.
Yeah, towards the end, it's like you're doing it constantly, and the whole bullet time mechanic. They've kind of gone with a bit of True Crimes, but not really, because True Crimes, it's literally like Max Payne, you dove and it went into bullet time. Where it's not with this, you've got to be behind cover and then slide over something, and then it goes into bullet time. And to continue being in bullet time, you have to like take out more.
Yeah,
enemies,
get headshots and stuff.
Which it's a bit. It seems a bit half-hearted.
I just thought the bullet time didn't look great for a start, and I would have really, really liked to be able to dive around corners. I really kind of needed that. It's a minor gripe, but considering how much gunplay there is towards the end, and we're talking hours worth of gunplay, I find that a bit of a shame. But it's alright. The gunplay feels pretty good. The guns, fairly cool.
Yeah,
I haven't got a problem with those.
I think at this point, what I can say about Sleeping Dogs is it's a good start.
Yeah, this is getting a sequel.
If they address the couple of issues that this game has, it is lined up to be a great.
It's guaranteed sequel.
Yeah, that's
franchise.
What we were discussing off air was just like, if this game stays with one publisher all the way through for number 2, it'll be awesome if they do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure probably Square Enix are going to be betting big on it now.
Yeah.
So, and they've got a good rep for this stuff now. So that also helps. The social tie-ins are really cool in the game. All the social hub stuff's kind of nice. Well, I'm not massively into it, but it's got like an auto log sort of thing.
For a couple of days, we was having competitions, weren't we? Me, you, and Carl were kind of
and that's cool.
Trying to beat each other's scores on various things.
I thought it was really weird in the game how you just constantly wake up in different apartments throughout the whole time, although with no explanation whatsoever. Of like, oh no, I live here now, do I? And it's a bit better. And just no indicator.
Also, the kind of upgrading on your apartment.
Do you want to buy a piece of furniture for no reason whatsoever?
I bought an aircon for my original flat today, and it's like I've got 5 luxury flats now.
I had an issue where some guy was offering to sell me a fish tank, and I accidentally punched him in the face instead of buying it. Okay, and now he won't sell it to me, so I don't think I can ever get the fish tank anymore. But I did get a jacuzzi, and it's just there in the flat, and if I want, I can go and stand in the middle of a jacuzzi in my clothes for no reason whatsoever, and then walk out. But that was it. It's really random.
It was like when I was walking through the night market for the first time, someone went, "Do you want to buy a mattress?" I was like, "Why would I buy a mattress?"
Yeah. Everyone's chatting at you all the time in the game. Constantly. Hey, wait!
It's really weird as well when you walk through the night market. Loads of people are like, "I sell best clothes," and you can't buy anything from them.
No, yeah, exactly. But the interactivity is pretty cool, and the level of buildings that you can go in and out of is also good. There's some really annoying searching for stuff that you have to do with some doors that aren't clearly listed on the map, but. Yeah, it's a damn solid game that is pretty good fun.
Yeah,
you should play it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a good start, not only for the Sleeping Dogs franchise, as it were. Yeah. It's a good fucking start for games are coming for the end of the year.
Yeah.
This is a good time to get out, and we've got a lot more to go on from now. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take one hell of a break. You're going to listen to our theme music, our new theme music by Anna Managuchi, which is called Fast Turtle. Okay, we are back. Fast Turtle. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's the first time we've played a whole track, I think, in this show. But there you go. Hats off to Anna Managuchi.
Again.
All right, back with some more games then. And this week's, it's kind of last week's XBLA Summer of Arcade Tile, the last Summer of Arcade Tile, in fact, which was Dust and Elysian Tale.
Yeah.
Which you bought, Sean, and played quite a lot.
Finished.
You finished it?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't pick this up, and Joe, you didn't pick this up either.
No.
But I have played it very, very briefly.
Can you press and hold the...
played around with your game a little bit. No, I've got the demo. I've been playing the demo.
Okay.
I actually don't like this as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, same as.
It's, to explain, it's kind of a Metroidvania style game, but it's all hand-drawn, beautifully animated, hand-drawn thing.
It looks gorgeous.
It really does. It looks great. You can really see all the hand-drawn stuff. And I even love the cutscene bits where the characters pop up on the screen. But for all that, I think the art is beautiful and the animation is beautiful, I don't really like the style. I don't really like the sort of fake Disney animal characters thing.
It is very Disney.
It's kind of, I'm a bit tired of that. But it does look wonderful. What's most impressive, I think, about this game is it's largely made by one guy.
Right.
Which is nuts.
To be fair, you can kind of see it because I'd say it's... most people will compare it to Castlevania and Metroid. I don't think that's accurate. I think Vampire Smiles and Dishwasher Dead Samurai is more of a comparison.
Okay, but doesn't it have that whole map structure of where you're going?
Yes and no. It's not anywhere near as accurate as kind of the auto map into Super Metroid and Castlevania, because there you can see the secret sections. If you know what you're looking for on a map, you can see where walls can break and stuff. With this, it's far more general. It doesn't give you squares to a room. Each room is one block, and it will kind of go. You can go off the top, you can go off the side, you can go off the bottom, and you've just got to figure that out.
Isn't that what?
No, Castlevania and Super Metroid. If you're in a large room, that room will have like 20 blocks.
Okay, but then things like Shadow Complex is only one block per room.
But it gives you
in it if there's something special in it or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it gives you even still a more accurate map than what this does.
All right. Well, that aside, anyway, it's kind of interesting. I thought the move set's quite cool. You've got your little flying fellow. What's it called? Fidget. Yeah, follows you around. Who throws fireballs out and various other things.
She gains 3 elements total: water, fire, and electricity.
Electricity is not an element.
Well, it's a sub of fire, sub element of fire.
I'm just arguing for if the
just playing devil's advocate.
Where's earth and wind?
No, it didn't refer to them as elements.
Okay.
I refer to them as elements. So the fighting is a lot more limited than you initially expect it to be. Your moveset is literally kind of tap X repeatedly, tap X, add Y, add Y in different places, and that move list is maybe like 5 moves long.
Right. Okay.
And to kind of go off the back of like a game that's roughly 3 to 5 hours, it gets repetitive quickly.
Well, I think the biggest problem with it, because what I liked about it first of all is I love the fact that you can incorporate Fidget's moves with your own. So you've got your talking sword that you're spinning around and stuff. You do like a whirlwind move with it, and then you use her move, and she throws her fireballs into the whirlwind.
You press B, she does her move.
Yeah.
You hold Y, and
that's kind of cool. It's a nice mechanic. It looks kind of funky, and it feels good to do it. I think my biggest problem with the combat in this game is there's loads of it.
Yes. Yeah.
There's just too many enemies. And it doesn't throw them at you in the same way that like Metroid would, where it's kind of more part of a level and more sort of structured. It just kind of, you go into a screen, there's 6 enemies to fight. If you accidentally get knocked, by the way, and fall out of that screen and then go back into it, they've all respawned. Yeah. So in that sense, I think that's why it does get really repetitive quite quickly, is because you're just kind of doing it a bit too much for the game.
But also in terms of kind of plot, there's shit tons of talking.
All right, okay.
There's like loads, man, and at first it's cool, it's all voice acted, but it's kind of like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, minute and a half of just like constant talking, and the plot isn't anything, immense or groundbreaking. It seems like a missed opportunity, the entire game.
Really?
Yeah. I think it could have delivered more. I think if the combat was just a bit more varied, then there'd be more to go back to this game for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the crux of it, isn't it? It's not largely a combat game. I think that's
but it relies heavily on the combat.
Yeah,
because that is the meat of the game.
Do it too much. I mean, I would say more than anything, this is the best game of Summer of Arcade. Would we say?
It's hard to say. I didn't play Hybrid, and you seemed quite fond of it.
I really liked Hybrid, but I mean, given that it's niche enough, in the fact that it's kind of an already obscure shooter, which already kind of puts it at a disadvantage. Out of the ones you played, so not counting Hybrid, what would you say? Dust was your favourite?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a weak year for it. It's been a really weak year.
Yeah, it has.
And it's kind of there's been a lot of games that have been a really long time coming that I haven't really sort of lived up to expectations. It's a shame that Dust doesn't seem to be setting the world on fire in the way it should. But it does look pretty.
Yeah,
it does.
And it's kind of got some cool stuff in there. I don't know whether I should say. I don't know how much of a spoiler it is. I don't know how much is out there. But you can find secret areas where there's other XBLA characters locked up in.
So more of this crossover shit that's going on with XBLA.
And it's like 12 in this.
Yeah, I saw Super Meat Boy was in there.
I've unlocked Super Meat Boy. I've unlocked the little Indiana Jones dude from Splunky. I've unlocked Dead Samurai, and the logo character for the people that do the sound to this game.
Okay.
Which is like a duck with headphones on.
Yeah, it's it's strange. It's and also they serve no purpose whatsoever.
No.
Is there an achievement attached to them?
Yeah. If you unlock all 12, then go meet them at the sanctuary. You get an achievement.
Yeah, but they don't do anything. They just kind of wander around your little home.
Yeah, I mean they kind of Super Meat Boy by far so far is the best. He walks up and down and then kind of does thumbs up or peace signs and stuff, and grins at you.
So what's the deal with the sanctuary then in this game? Because that seems a bit odd. Is that like your own home base?
No.
What is it?
It's literally. You walk up a hill, you go in through a door, all your dudes are there.
So, but why do I go back there throughout the game? What is the purpose of that room?
It doesn't seem to serve any purpose. So it's just getting an achievement.
Yeah, so it's a trophy room, I suppose.
It's somewhere to hide
for your collectibles.
Yeah. Okay, but it's not even collectibles. It's literally just those 12 characters.
Yeah, but they're collectibles. That's 12
I
collectibles.
Suppose, yeah. If you want.
Yeah. I mean, you collect 12 things. But okay, no, I didn't know if there was any sort of weird structure to it. I still don't really.
As far as I'm aware, there's not.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
It's okay. As I say, it by far the best of the Summer of Arcade, but that's not really saying much.
No. Okay. Well, another Xbox Live Arcade game then, we'll move swiftly along, that we've played this week is Expendables 2.
Yeah.
Joe, you played it. You like the Expendables.
Game is amazing.
And you're excited for this game. I've only played the demo, so same as you, Sean. Yeah. But the demo was enough to confirm my fears.
It was enough for me to commit suicide.
Yeah, this game is bad, Joe. It's a twin stick shooter, although you use a button to fire, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of got a bit of an Ikari Warriors sort of feel to it, I suppose.
I was thinking G.I. Joe.
Yeah. All right. So sort of top down ish.
Well, it's sort of more looking sideways at it rather than top down.
Isometric. Yeah. Except for it's not even that, is it?
It's kind of like, somewhere in between.
So you can see the full characters, but you're not always going up the screen. You're always going sideways. You're going all over the place. A bit kind of like, well, you know the sort of shooters that I mean, the sort of player-based shooters like Ikari Warriors and Rambo and things like that. The voice acting is terrible. It has the worst impersonation of Sylvester Stallone in that game I've ever seen in my life. It's almost as bad as the character face model for Dolph Lundgren.
But Terry Crews sounds pretty much like Terry Crews.
I guess. I'm not as familiar with. I couldn't recognise Terry Crews' voice there as much
really?
as I could. Sylvester Stallone's voice I can pull out. Yeah, a bad Sylvester Stallone impression is like a bad Michael Caine impression, and he talks all the fucking time in this game.
I might add a bad Sean Connery impression.
Yeah, exactly. It's garbage. It's just janky as fuck. It's made by Zootfly, who are the guys that made Ghostbusters.
Oh right, what the Sanctuary of Slime one?
No, well they might have done that as well. They definitely did the main Ghostbusters game. But the movement in this game is bloody awful. The animation's terrible. Each character can jump their own height again. Like the second you press the jump button when it says press A to jump, is the funniest experience in the entire game because it looks ridiculous. Joe, tell us why this is great.
It's not. It's actually really bad. I was expecting it to be terrible.
How much was it?
£10.
Yeah, it was 1,200 Microsoft points. I knew it was going to be terrible. I planned to get this, that's why I didn't get Dust.
To be fair, I think you would prefer this game to Dust anyway.
Yeah, that's why I got it. Yeah, it's not good. It's like the shooting. It's hard to aim. Yeah. You can never tell exactly where you're shooting.
Yeah, there's no indicator, is there? No. Unless you use the character with the laser dot sight,
which is like Dolph's character. I think it's Gunner. because he has the sniper rifle, the laser, and it's the best weapon as well because it's like one shot kill on everything.
Right.
I don't know. I found the guy with the knives was probably my favourite character.
I don't know. I love playing Terry Crews's character with his automatic shotgun and his grenade launcher, but I mainly
the range is rubbish on him though, man.
Yeah, I know it is. I know. But
so each character's got a different set of weapons, right? And they've all got kind of a machine gun and then kind of a special weapon, basically.
Well, yeah, it's something like that.
Great, thanks, Jay.
You also have like a charge meter, which you get from they look like little ninja stars that are floating around the world. You pick those up. What it does is it'll give you the access to 3 grenades if you want, so you can hold RB, I believe, and aim it, let go, and it'll throw a grenade.
Yep.
Or if you charge it up to the 4th slot, it gives you a signature kill. So if you take your character and run up to a bad guy, you can hold X. And all 4 of them have a different move.
See, I didn't know if all 4 of them had a different move because when I was flipping between characters, obviously I'm playing solo, it only seemed to come up on 2. But it's obviously that I've got my gauge up to that high on those 2 characters.
I did quite like the idea that you do flip between characters and that you can. That's quite a nice little mechanic for it when you are playing by yourself. But yeah, the signature moves was weird. Like signature moves. Like, what? Hang on. No, where are you going? How am I supposed to know what Sylvester Stallone's character in Expendables 2, what his signature move is?
Oh, he shoots you in the knee and shoots you in the face.
Oh yeah, that move that he's famous for. You know, like the signature moves is a bit... That's questionable grammar for that.
It's basically individual finishing moves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it doesn't. It's not what it calls them, is it?
No,
like, this is your.
That's a bit of a mouthful.
No, isn't special move isn't a mouthful. Signature move is more of a mouthful than that. And my point is, they're not signature moves. These are not moves that we know these characters for or anything like that. There's nothing to do with it. So
you don't know. You haven't seen Expendables 2 yet.
Unless they do it 6 or 7 times in the movie, it's not going to be their signature move, is it? You know, like Hulk Hogan when he goes up to the crowd and waves his hand and puts it up to his ear? That's his signature move, right? He does it over and over again. Sylvester Stallone apparently shoots someone in the knee and then the face.
Yeah, I doubt he does that at all in the film. Yeah. I am going to play more of this game because I want to get some of the unlocks and see if it changes the game at all with better weapons and things like that.
I've just never seen a game look so rough as this.
Yeah, it does look
terrible. For a title that, it's Ubisoft publishing it, and Zoofly, they're not great, but they know roughly what they're doing. The overall polish is seriously lacking, from the menus to the in-game prompts that crop up in the game that they do almost like a Splinter Cell Conviction style stuff, don't they? Press A to jump here, press A, and it all just looks really rough, like really, really rough. And the character models are horrific. I mean, I posted a picture on Twitter today of Dolph Lundgren's face from the game, and I know Dolph Lundgren's face isn't great anyway, but it's really bad in this game. They kind of look like, and that's kind of, I guess, one of the beauties of this games. Like when we try and render a character's face in like Unreal Engine 3 and they all kind of look like Unreal Engine 3 people, not real people. Well, the beauty of this is that Unreal Engine 3 people kind of look like Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren these days anyway, so that does help. But yeah, just rough. Yeah,
the levels are just like building placed here and then you see it like 5 seconds later in a different location, and it's just generic map after generic map. The second level is an on-rail shoot of the entire section.
Did you get to that point?
No, I didn't. I did play the first level in the demo and then just went, I don't want to play this. I don't.
Yeah, there's too much going on. I think is one of the issues.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of enemies on screen, and like I say, you don't know where you're targeting, and you're like, am I shooting people? Or my character shooting? Am my team shooting people? I don't know what the fuck's happening.
I do like in the corner you have a little kill counter, and I think I reached at the end of the first level it was like 400. And that's just like the first level out of like 4 chapters.
Yeah. But I mean that's fine depending on what sort of game it's going for. I think the problem is there's so much on screen that's kind of tricky. I mean you could take down 3 times that amount of enemies in a Geometry Wars game or anything like that. The games where fodder is there a lot anyway, but because there's a bit in the first level where you go through like a crop field and you can't see shit.
No.
And with the aiming difficulty as well, it overclutters it and overcomplicates it. What I do like about this game is that it's a game based on the Expendables 2, which makes me remember the old days of where on the NES you'd have like a Robocop, a Terminator, a Lethal Weapon game, and loads of games based on products that wouldn't be appropriate for children.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that in some level. But they snuck it out during Summer of Arcade.
And on a Friday as well.
It's not.
Fabled Friday release.
Yeah.
He's not a main release if he's out on a Friday.
No.
Yeah.
So not convinced by that at all.
Neither am I. I'm going to play again though.
But I'm glad you bought it.
I'm going to delete it from my hard drive.
In olden days, this game would have clips from the film put throughout it.
Yeah, probably.
We don't do that anymore, but I kind of wish we did for this. That's kind of like it would have been something else, to watch.
I tell you what, the best part about this game is the trailer for this game.
Yeah, that's maybe true actually. And incidentally, the trailer for this game does make the game look a lot better than it actually is as well. Forget Dolph Lundgren's performance in that trailer. It's the actual game it just looks rough. So yeah, that was not great in our experience. We also played a bunch of indie games this week actually. We went back and played. I think we all did. We went back and played some more of The Fourth Wall. You finished it, Joe.
I believe I finish it. With a game like this, you can never be certain.
Yeah, that's true. I spent a good portion of time in it again, and my view's not changed. It's still weird as hell, right? That game doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But what I found this time was it actually terrifies me. Like, the confusion of not knowing what's going on really terrifies me. I got to a different point in it where there were some sort of disembodied faces following me around.
The white wall section.
Yeah, and the whole thing just made me so uncomfortable that I wasn't sure about it. I know we talked about it last episode, and we talked about Slender, and Slender was largely the game we were talking about as being the terrifying one. No, The Fourth Wall is way scarier.
Yeah, it's like when you do the white wall one, so you activate the four sides of the white wall, and there's that white ball that you have to get it to hit you, so your character dies, and you can continue on for the next wall.
Right, okay.
Right, and it's like, at first I was just like running around trying to find this ball. I turn around, there's this face behind me, I'm like, the fuck is that for? And then it kills me. And I have to start all over again. And then it's like, there's two of them chasing you, so you're trying to get this white ball whilst avoiding these faces. And then when you die, you have a little white body print in front of the white wall, and you move on to a different wall.
It's a strange game. I was hoping that with some more playing, we'd be able to figure out exactly what was going on. Nah. No, that's not the case at all.
I think it's hell.
Well, we did play. There was another game by the same guy. I want to say this guy's name, but I can't. I don't know if I can pronounce his surname. Jesse Ceranowicz? Let's say Ceranowicz. Lovely guy, but also made another game on Xbox Live Indie Games. Made a whole bunch of games, and a lot of them are really weird.
Yeah.
So, that's fair enough. But Vidiot Game was his last game on Xbox Live Indie Games, I believe, before this one. And we've all played this. This was obscure.
From the get-go, the image that is the kind of
box
cover
art.
art, really reminds me of 2000 AD.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think actually, and this is a good pulling point, it's a really good box art.
Oh yeah, I loved
it's
it.
Like
out of indie games,
like
it's very good.
Smart. That's one of our big pet peeves on indie games. Is like, if your box art looks shit, I'm not picking up your game.
Yeah,
and it looks good. I loved Vidiot Game. Again, I don't know how to explain it because it's batshit mental, but I really loved it. It's kind of like, what is it? It's kind of like what WarioWare meets LSD meets falling down some stairs, and it's kind of that. So it's a lot of very, very short interactions and it's got like a weird, crazy narrative through it. So you'll play as a frying pan, obviously with legs and arms, and you'll walk through an environment. You'll meet a disembodied floating head, and it will say, the floating head wants to know what your favourite food is, and it will give you the option of pizza, junk food, or tuna or something. And one right answer will keep you going. Maybe one will kill you. And they'll be like, and then you walk into the next screen and be like, you find a dead horse on the ground. What do you do? And you like, give the horse a proper burial, ignore, or do a silly dance.
Yeah.
And there's lots of weird stuff. And then all of a sudden a vortex appears, and it's like, oh, what are you going to do with the vortex? Well, here's my tip. If you see a vortex, do a backflip.
Really?
Yeah, do a backflip.
Do a backflip.
And the vortex disappears.
Oh, I just ran away.
No, do a backflip. Always do a backflip. If you get the option to do a backflip in a game, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And if you run into a Yeti, ignore the Yeti.
Yeah, ignore the Yeti.
No, I always snuck away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it changes.
It changes the wording, but it always means the same
what
thing.
you want to do is get in a fight with a Yeti. You both spin round in a circle, and then it kills you.
Yeah, so it's kind of random. So you've got lots of little like narrative points like that, but then on top of that, there's like a horoscope skiing style down the screen ski away from an avalanche or another vortex.
It's always been a vortex in my
There's also sort of quick time events where you're rolling down a hill and you have to keep pressing the button to jump over certain things. There's like the pilot wings style falling down a shaft, avoiding objects
with a jetpack.
And it's just loads of stuff, and it all happens so quickly. And you die so quickly.
Yeah.
And then it's like, start again, do it. I finished it actually today. I actually got through the entire thing and it told me I'd win. My rank was an awesome father. I took a picture of it, or a real good dad or something. It was strange. But I love the visual look of it.
I mean,
just
I played
mental.
it for ages.
Yeah, exactly.
The graphics change as well. You do the same things over and over again, but it will come up in different graphic styles and vectors.
Yeah, and it will glitch out and do weird stuff.
It goes all weird.
When it first done that, I was like, have I broken this in some way? And then I carried on. It was just like, no, it's the same.
I always felt like the glitching was maybe connected to your health. I don't know, but I got the impression that like when I failed something but didn't die, that was when it started to do the glitching to make it more difficult. But I don't know. Again, I can't get a bearing on what this game is about. But like you say, Sean, and I'm simply saying for me, I played it for ages.
Yeah.
Ages.
I just played it for ages, not knowing what I was doing.
It's fucking brilliant. For 80 points, I recommend everyone get it because it's one of those like it's really polished for like a deliberately unpolished game. Like it's like kind of deliberately ugly.
Yeah.
You know, and wicked. Well, like I don't know, mental.
I love the character creation in it. So you can pick between a fungi, vegetable, or a utensil.
Yeah.
I love picking a fungi just because it's a mushroom smoking.
With sunglasses.
Yeah. And you can change the name of it and the type and like loads of other stuff.
You can
crazy.
Pick if he's rich or poor, or if his luck, his job, if he's got a long tongue or long fingers, or just fucking mental. This game,
I
awesome.
love the way it's written, the things it says about what you've done, and the little sort of like story beats that come up, or some stuff will suddenly flash on the screen for like 2 seconds and it's gone. It's
got scratch cards. I've never won the lottery.
It's got a digital scratch card. Yeah, you absolutely have to check this game out. It's 80 points. The demo will give you more of an idea of what it's like. But I totally recommend it. Vidiot Game.
Man, it's just great when you die as well. Just for those little bits of comments about why you've died and how you've died.
Yeah.
And so you return to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. For a break, you decided to fly to the Philippines, and it's just like it's really bizarre, but very, very, very cool. So definitely support this guy and give him your 80 points. It's 80 points. Come on. You played some other Xbox Live indie games though, Sean. Yeah. I understand. You played one that you've written down here, and I don't know what it's called. Gravity Y3030.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Okay, what's that about?
If it was published by Excalibur, it would be Space Station Repairman
Simulator.
Yes.
Right.
You should check it out, Mike, because you're such a big fan of Descent.
Oh, yeah.
And it has very, very Descent-y controls.
Okay.
It's kind of all about the physics of inertia, really. You've got your left and right bumpers rotate your ship. And I can't really explain to you what type of game this is. It is kind of like a simulator. Your first mission, you've got to go and pick up some cargo that someone's dropped. So you fly out of the space station, you just rotate your ship around, go and pick up some cargo, bring it back. It's a lot harder than it sounds.
Okay. I mean, you're first person in this. You
can switch between first and third. Third person is just insanely hard to control. I was just like, what the fuck, man? I don't know what is up, what is down, what is left or right. But it's kind of interesting. 80 points again. I'm considering picking it up when I've got a random 80 points just to kind of fuck around in space for a bit.
Yeah.
It's weird and strange and quite crappy at the same time.
There's been quite a good little mix of like the latest batch of indie games that have come up this week. It's been quite high quality, I think.
Yeah.
Because you played another game 2012, which we'll talk about in a sec, but I played another game called Spy Leaks, which was a strange puzzle-based game that looked really nice. Like, really looked like a proper full-on game, right? And it was just a little puzzle game where you're a spy in like a 2D world, and you just need to get to certain exits. Just basically get to an exit, and the way to do it, you need to open gates. And you open the gates with pressure pads, largely. So you're pulling safes and putting on pressure pads to open doors.
Right.
And then when you run past security guards in this building, they will follow you and come after you, and you've got to avoid certain traps and beams and stuff. And was just like simple, but like really, that was like a game, like a proper game, and nice one, job done. But 2012, that you say you've played here. It looked good.
Yeah, it's a weird game. I downloaded demo because it's like 240 points. So I was like,
oh right, okay.
It's quite pricey, though I have bought it.
It's funny, isn't it, how much we like welcome 240 points. You know, like
It's like £1.90 or something.
Yeah, but and it's like, really, come on, man. But yeah, I get it.
And the amount of playtime you get from an indie game is not enough to get past the talking.
Right.
In this game, I didn't know what I was going to do, but from the gallery, I was like, I want to try this game anyway, so I was like, fuck it, and bought it at 240 points. I've played maybe like 25 minutes of this game. I've barely touched it, and so we'll probably touch back on it next week. It's got a real eclectic mix to the graphic style. So when you're looking at the basic arena, it looks like a kind of 16-bit RPG, but South Park style. So it's got like loads of dead bodies just littering the environment outside of the main town that you start in, and they look like dead bodies in South Park. They look like Kenny's head split open. So I kind of like that. But when you're inside stuff, it makes everything look like, you know, the most basic art package you get on Windows as standard. Everything looks like all the microwaves and the fridge and stuff. They look like they've been built out of that. And people's faces when they're talking in corners look really janky as well. So it's like it's been outsourced to a prison for the rest of the graphics.
Fair enough.
But it's interesting, yeah. It's got a Snake Plissken style character. It sells you a 2x4 to get out of town and stuff. I'm going to give it some more playtime. We'll talk extensively about it next week.
It looked alright, like I say. There was some polished stuff, and with Indie Game Uprising coming, you know, it's only a few weeks away. I wasn't expecting to really see anything great at this point.
Sure.
You know, you're thinking with the peer-to-peer reviews of community indie game stuff, and those being, you know, still arguably chosen as the best ones coming in. You respect the ones that before then would be a bit naff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good to see that. Incidentally, actually, the Indie Games Uprising stuff, they announced that you could buy every single one of the Indie Games Uprising games for less than one of the Summer of Arcade games.
Yeah, that's good.
Which pretty much does tell us that they're going to be about 80 points.
Yeah.
That maybe means one's 240.
Yeah.
But really, they should all be around 80 points, which is good news. So I'm kind of psyched for that.
It's just one of those things that never crosses my mind to check the indie game market. They hide it away, and I always forget to go and check it every time I turn on my Xbox.
None of them are called Battlefield.
Yeah.
So did no one play? And you know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but no one played Madden 13 demo?
No. I looked at it and I was like, I might try this, and then I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I thought about it for a laugh. I was going to try and give it a go, but it's actually just too much hard work to play a Madden game. And I love like NFL Blitz. And those games, those are brilliant. I like the idea of big guys slamming into each other in a freaking rough way whilst trying to throw a wrong-shaped football down some end of a pitch. That's cool, but Madden's all like, nah, I don't even know what
you
this is.
You need
like,
to
it makes
American
Vidiot
football.
Game look like, I don't know, an episode of EastEnders. You know? Like, you know,
It's that consistent.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, I've played Madden games in the past. Primarily, I think the last time I played one was on a Mega Drive.
Yeah, well, they were a lot simpler back then.
And you still needed to understand American football and know what things were.
You spend too much time in a Madden game looking at nothing happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of menus and kind of arrows.
Right.
Yeah, I think I've only ever played one Madden game, which was like 07 on the 360. And yeah, I actually didn't mind it too much.
I mean, if there was more rugby games, I might be
Nah,
tempted to
get
play
out,
rugby.
get
But
out.
rugby's like the hardcore version of American football.
No.
There's no padding
For a limited time, that's
Those
what
guys
makes
are
it less
nuts.
hardcore. But that's. I bet you a helmet and a shoulder pad hurts more when it hits you in the face than just another dude.
Yeah, but you've got a cage in front
I
of your
suppose
face.
that's-
Yeah.
okay.
But if
I
you-
worked on a rugby game just before I left Square Enix. We were going to publish a rugby game,
yeah, I do
and
remember you saying.
it was horrible.
Was it?
I don't want to talk about.
But
rugby
surely rugby's like the fast version of American football in real life.
Yeah, no, rugby is slightly faster paced than American football. American football is just like they hit each other so hard, it's ridiculous.
Dude, in any given Sunday, a dude's eye comes out of his head.
That's a film.
Yeah.
It still happened. It was caught on camera.
In a film.
It was caught on camera.
They're called
American football is
special
rough.
effects.
American football is way more awesome because you get to kick the ball into those goalpost things, and people do crazy dances when they score touchdowns. There's no touchdown in rugby, you know, and that's something that we don't really do that over here, but American sports do really well. The sort of showboating and stuff, and that's why American football is cool. So anyway, the point is, as a standard, normal, maybe slightly more unfit than we should be English bloke that we all are, right? Rugby and American football are both off limits for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fair enough. There's been some news. We should talk about some news because Gamescom was this week. We haven't really followed Gamescom that much, but it was quite a big show because Sony did quite well out of it.
Right.
And it's an odd thing to say because although we're going, yeah, Sony won Gamescom, yeah. Well, Sony were the only ones that went to Gamescom. Microsoft and Nintendo went, you know what, nah.
It's beneath us.
Yeah, so Gamescom was kind of Sony's show. And they showed quite a lot of games and people were kind of excited. They didn't do any of that Wonderbook shit they did at E3.
Oh, okay.
But they did announce cross-buy, which was quite cool and also, I think, probably slightly unrealistic, but it seems like a good deal for Vita owners. If you buy, on a whole bunch of games that are coming out, if you buy the PS3 version now, Little Big Planet is one of the ones that goes into it a lot. I think it's the karting game. You get the Vita version for free.
Nice.
Which is cool. That's what they need to do.
Yeah,
you know,
cool.
Sly Cooper is another one of the ones that do that. And it's a good deal, and I'd feel much better if I owned a Vita and a PS3 because of it. But man, for people making games, not so much a good deal. I don't know what Sony pay them to do it, but imagine being told, all right, yeah, cool, so you're making Assassin's Creed or whatever it is for the PS3, thanks. How about you make a Vita version as well?
And we just give it away.
Yeah.
And we give you a $5 for it every time.
It's like, I don't know how that necessarily works, but they must have some sort of plan.
I can only really see it with things like Little Big Planet and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to be...
Well, the two games you've mentioned are both Sony games.
Yeah, and it's going to be Sony games like this. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is another one of those games. So it's cool. The Vita really needs it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know,
you have to be into your Sony crap for this to even pan out even remotely for you, because I own neither of those consoles, so it doesn't interest me at all.
It's a good idea, but it just seems quite desperate. I don't know why.
Well, and we shouldn't bitch about it. This is awesome. This is exactly the thing that everyone should do. Is the only people that win in this situation
is
us.
customer.
Yeah,
sure.
So we shouldn't be down on it. But yeah, maybe it is desperate. Sony have been making a loss for a long time. You know, we're due a price cut. You know that we know that there's a slim model, a new model coming out. We know that they're not putting that out at the moment because there's too many of the old models still around.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sony are clutching at straws a little bit, and the Vita has struggled. So, I think it'll be quite good. I love the idea of that. It does make sense, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with
at this point, Sony shouldn't really be panicking too much. The Vita hasn't had a Christmas yet.
No, that's true. But is it going to have a great one?
I don't know.
I mean, the big issue that came out of this was Activision showed off Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified on the Vita, and they showed it, and apparently it looked dreadful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like really, really dreadful, which was bad for Black Ops.
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of sent these messages round of, Vita games aren't looking as good as we thought they were going to be. You know, remember the whole, they're going to be like PS3 games on your Vita, and Uncharted looks good. But, Black Ops, bad. And they I think what the story was, and this is, maybe fifth hand now at this point, but they showed off Black Ops. They had a 30-minute slot for it, Activision, when they showed it off. And the guy comes up and is like, we're going to show you a new trailer for Black Ops Declassified. I think they then showed the same trailer they'd already released.
Right.
And 30-minute slots, remember? And they went, we haven't really got much time for Q&As. We know you're all really busy, and we're really busy too. So that's it. Bye. Over in about 13 minutes. So there was 17 minutes left of their allocated 30-minute slot where they just didn't do anything.
Right.
And didn't want any questions.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, does it?
So it doesn't sound like Declassified's doing that well, but we'll see. Sony won Gamescom. They still came out. Remember Me was announced, which is a Capcom game. Capcom picked it up. I can't remember who's developing it, but it wasn't them. And it's another cyberpunk Blade Runner-esque Watch Dogs style game that looks kind of mental. You play basically like a memory thief in it. A woman who can... What you do is you kind of jack into people's memory. You change people's memories in order to make them do things. So there's a situation where you go into one guy's memory and you have to make him kill his wife.
Right.
And they're having an argument. You go into the memory, you see the memory play out in third person. And he's having an argument with his wife and she's leaving him. And you interact with objects to change the outcome. So in the normal situation, she would just leave. In the situation where you affect things, you might make a bottle fall off, like a bottle of whiskey, fall off the table. When the bottle of whiskey falls off the table, when he then goes to stop her from leaving, he slips on the bottle. As he slips on the bottle, he lands in front of a gun that's on the table, and that will make him pick up the gun and change. And so you're affecting people's memories to try and change the way they handle things. I don't know enough about it, sadly, but yeah, everyone's been kind of a buzz of Remember Me, so something
I'll have a look into
to check out. Yeah. There was a load of, although we've just been sort of slightly trash talking Black Ops 2 Declassified, Black Ops 2 had a big event last week, didn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
Where they live streamed a whole bunch of new info about it. I didn't catch any of that. I didn't see any of it, but I've heard some of the news from it.
Yeah, I watched day 2 stream because they're on 5 1-hour streams each day. They were streaming them on Twitch and on Xbox.
Okay.
And yeah, so the first one was like all about customization. The second one was they were going into like their Comcasting system and bits and pieces like they're showing off like all this new stuff they were doing with multiplayer and things like this. I wasn't paying massive amounts of attention because I really don't care about multiplayer on Call of Duty.
What? That doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You play Call of
No,
Duty.
he does. He'll play it for about a week.
Yeah, all right, it's awesome. But anyway,
Every year he goes, I'm not buying it.
let's go back to that anyway, because unwinding that, they're doing really interesting stuff with the multiplayer. The Comcasting stuff is really, really interesting. You can broadcast games out from your 360 and commentate over them. They've gone for that whole Major League Gaming style thing where you'll have commentators commentating matches live as they're happening. You'll be able to watch on your 360.
They've added all sorts of features in there as well. So they've got maps and you can change it so you can change each team into individual colours and bits and pieces like this. You can tap into each team's communications. So as you're Comcasting, you can listen to what they're saying and you can broadcast it out to other people. And
like proper full-on broadcasting this is, which is just nuts. And the idea is that I think when you broadcast stuff, you can't just broadcast from the get-go to live to everyone. You have to be like a followed, favorited person that rises up through the ranks before you can like commentate over stuff.
Okay.
But that's crazy. You know, it's going to take up a slot obviously in the game as someone who's not playing, who's kind of spectating to do that. But really nuts. They say they've partnered up with people externally, so probably something like Twitch TV, I'd have thought, to get those streams out there. But I find that mental. I mean, stuff like this has sort of been done before. Project Gotham Racing did Gotham TV back in the day, which was a similar sort of idea. So Onlive did similar things where you could just watch people's games. But this is really going for that sort of competitive pro circuit. It's not. I mean, it's alien kind of to us a little bit unless you watch, you know, commentated matches of games. There's a big StarCraft following. You can watch that on television in a lot of places. But we don't really get that bit. But it's a big deal. It's a bigger deal than we think. And for Black Ops, I think that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, they've completely changed. Like I was saying, the first day was all about customization. They have completely changed all of the customization on Black Ops now.
Right, say customization again for me, please.
Customization.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's all right. But yes, they've changed it. So instead of your typical, you pick your main weapon, your secondary weapon, your like bits and pieces and your attachments, you now have your class and 10 tokens. So you can use those tokens you can literally just carry a primary weapon, no secondary, so you get the extra token. You can get wild cards, perks, all this really weird random stuff, and they've changed it completely.
So you've got an amount of points that you can spend on stuff, and then with those points you can reuse them as you see fit. That's quite cool. Halo 4 announced all of their specializations as well.
Okay.
Some of which are really, really, really nuts. I don't have the information here, but you should totally check it out. Team Fortress 2 has had a massive update to it called Man vs. Machine. Whether you like Team Fortress 2 or not, I suggest, and you should know by now, that you go and watch the trailer for Man vs. Machine, because it's just like all the pyro videos.
Right.
It's awesome. There was a little ARG that Valve launched for a little while promoting this. No one really quite knew what it was, but everyone got kind of a robot vibe from it. And then the trailer's awesome. It puts the two Team Fortress teams, red and blue, together as a unit to fight a robot army, which are robot versions of all of their characters.
Right. Okay.
And then it becomes almost like a Left 4 Dead style horde mode.
Yeah.
It's cool. The stuff they've done for the game, just insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. So, wicked video, but also a good reason to go back into Team Fortress. Lastly, the only other thing I was going to bring up then, we did mention them briefly a minute ago, Onlive has kind of collapsed. Like a wet sponge that collapses.
Yeah,
if wet sponges
I
collapse.
can't remember what percentage of their employees they fired.
50, I think it was at this point. There was initial stories were I woke up the other day, and initial stories were everyone on Onlive's gone. They've all just gone, and doors have been closed, and that's it. This does happen sadly in the games industry more often than not. People go into work and they can't get in. But that's not really the case with Onlive. Onlive have now issued a statement saying Onlive's not going away. Don't worry, we're not going away. It's kind of cool. It's all right. But a new company has bought all of the assets from Onlive. Everything. Right. Onlive, as a company, doesn't exist. As a service, it still does.
Yeah.
This new company, no one knows who it is or what the deal is. It kind of looks like, rather than go bankrupt, they've just started a new company and transferred everything over.
Right.
Which they can't have done that. It's a bit too dodgy, but it looks a lot like that. And apparently they've now said that they're hiring a lot of people from the Onlive teams.
Right.
But Onlive's been buggered for ages. It's just too expensive. They can't offer a... The problem with Onlive is it's too expensive for them to run, and the service that they offer is too expensive as well.
Yeah.
Because you're not owning the games, you're not renting the games and stuff, but that cost price, they just haven't brought down enough. It kind of feels like with these services, they're great. They do work. We know that. But as a standalone thing, they don't. You know, if OnLive was part of Microsoft and it was an extra added feature thing to do with 360, that seems to be the way to do it. You know, if Sony do something interesting with Gaikai now, that's what they're going to do. But it sounds like Gaikai and OnLive themselves, as their own entities, just aren't good enough.
Can't sustain it.
No. So, and man, this is kind of what everyone said in the beginning. We kind of saw this coming, right? Like, how is anyone going to pay for any of this stuff? And I'd like to say OnLive even talked a good talk, but I'm not even sure they did. But they're apparently not going away. You've got a box, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah, I've got a box.
You should plug it in and see if it does anything.
Well, yeah, literally in the break, there was a tweet from OnLive saying online service will remain 24/7 and all your purchases are safe.
Well, I think that's kind of the problem, is that the fallout from all of this story going round is, oh my God, OnLive's gone. You know, all my money's going to be wasted. And it's that fear that everyone has with digital distribution and all that stuff of, all the stuff I bought is going to disappear because it just can't be sustained. So that's kind of damage control on their part. They're going, no, don't worry, it's okay. But
to be fair, Joe only spent £1?
79p.
Yeah,
on Tropico 4.
Yeah, 4. Well, I did like pay for their play pack thing. For
I think probably Joe's not their main concern. Probably other people actually use it.
Joe is their main concern.
So that's an interesting sort of calamity that's happened this month. I mean, also the other thing that we should probably just slightly touch on, everyone went mental for Half-Life 3 because it turned up on a list of showing up at Gamescom, and everyone was like, oh my God, Half-Life 3 is coming, and the internet went nuts for about 4 hours, and then it was like, no, it's a mistake. But there are a lot of signs suggesting that Half-Life 3 is maybe going to show its head soon. Despite the fact that Valve keeps saying no, it's not. And you'd have to expect this to be a next-gen game now, right? But the internet likes its controversy and it likes its drama when Gabe Newell and Half-Life 3 are concerned. So, business as usual for a week. Educating Joe?
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Joe. He didn't play many video games as a child. He was too busy out running and jumping through fields, perhaps stealing apples. But then one day he found himself inexplicably on a video game podcast, and two guys, Mike and Sean, vowed to take him back through time to play the games he missed. This is Educating Joe.
Okay, Educating Joe, and the bitch is back. Was that the tagline for Alien 3?
Don't know.
Or was that the tagline for Aliens?
It might be an Aliens.
No, Aliens 3 was the bitch is back. Aliens was in space, no one can hear you scream, and Alien was just, bad stuff.
No, Alien was in space,
no one can hear you scream, pretty sure.
What was Aliens then?
Yeah.
What was Aliens then?
Game over, man. Game over.
Anyway,
no, it wasn't.
Alien 3 was the bitch is back, and Alien 3 is what we're talking about here on the Super Nintendo. First off, Probe made this. I said last week that Activision published it, but it wasn't Acclaim. I got confused. Acclaim, obviously, long gone.
Long gone.
But,
dead in the ground.
Yeah, Probe made this. And first of all, they made Alien 3 for basically every machine that was available, from the Commodore 64 to the Mega Drive, and everyone but the SNES. And then they waited a couple of years, and then they made a SNES version. And it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Better, for a start. Joe, what did you think of this game?
Fuck this game.
Right, okay. Great. Why?
That was Educating Joe.
Yeah. What's up? What's your beef, man? Come on, talk to us.
This game was fucking horrendous, right? First off, it took me forever to figure out what to do in this game. Because at first, I'm just running around, going through air vents, fucking shooting aliens and face huggers and stupid little worms. I was like, the hell am I supposed to be doing? And then I figured out you can interact with a terminal.
Yeah.
So I interact with a terminal, find a mission. It's like, go to Medbay 3. No, go to, like...
Somewhere.
Cell Block 3. So I'm running round, and I'm like, where the fuck is Cell Block 3? How the hell do I get out of these hallways and corridors? So I go back to the terminal, it's like, oh, there's a map. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking through, and then it's like, there's Cell Block 3. So I run to Cell Block 3, and it's like, what do I do now? I'm here, how do I get through this door? Then I figure out how to get through the door, and it's just fucking... This just goes on for ages, where I'm just trying to figure out what to do next. And then it's just like finding random prisoners who are like chained up and helping them out. And, it's just fucking terrible, this game. It doesn't control well. It just...
No, it controls all right. I think the controls are quite accessible. You've got like every weapon's on a different face button, which is kind of nice, kind of easy. I do agree that it's really difficult to go down ladders sometimes.
Yeah, it is a bit janky.
You've got to get in the right position, and then like trying to go up a ladder is really difficult, especially when they're blocked separately. You've got to try and jump and press up whilst facing in the right direction. Otherwise, you'll end up on the back of the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what gets me is that Alien 3 as a movie isn't a great game. Isn't a great thing to make into a game. Because Alien 3 is not really an action movie.
No.
Like, it's not like the other Alien movies. Alien 3 is much more dull and boring. And
I don't know. Well, Alien 3's got more in common with Alien 1.
Yeah.
Because there's only one.
True.
Only
But yet the one that everyone goes nuts for and all the games tend to be best of is 2, right?
Yeah.
It's Aliens, yeah? And so this kind of, what it does, it doesn't really follow the movie all that closely.
No.
It throws a hell of a lot more aliens at you than there are in the
it's
movie.
just like but yeah, they don't do anything other than walk up and down in that one little pattern.
Sure. And it throws sort of like the motion detector in and the weapons and stuff from 2. So it's not really an Alien 3 game. It's kind of just an excuse to make an Alien game.
Set in a prison.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of cool. It's got all the nods and sound effects and winks that I kind of need for an Alien game.
There's one thing I noticed today I had a little chuckle about is there's one section where I was running through a prison block, and in the background there's like prisoners and they're just kind of standing around leaning against bars and stuff, but there's one guy on a tier above another guy and he's like twice the height of the first guy.
Right, okay.
It's like, where's the sense of scale?
It's space, man. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
This game was not what I was expecting, because last week you made it out it's more of a survival horror. So I was expecting far less aliens and far less ammo.
I couldn't find ammo at all. I just kept constantly running out of ammo.
I was drowning in ammo.
I think it's more just a case of it's just hectic. It's just frantic, and that's where the fear angle comes from.
Yeah.
I don't really get it as a scary game, but it's kind of frustratingly action packed.
After a while, I gave up shooting and I was just jumping, just running around, just trying to get as much done as quickly as possible.
I think because enemy AI is that simplistic, literally their pattern is move up, move down, move up, move down. They don't. If they see you, they don't come after you. The most danger you're in is a facehugger dropping from above you onto your head.
I found my worst trouble was going through an air duct and a facehugger above, because at first I just couldn't shoot them, and then I realised you just use a blowtorch.
A lot of crawling in that game.
Yeah.
A lot of tunnel crawling.
Yeah.
You know?
Loads of this.
Yeah. A lot of Bishop style tunnel crawling.
Yeah.
As a reference, sure.
Yeah, I know.
To what?
Alien.
Yeah.
I have actually watched these films.
All right. So, where does it fit then? Do you think this is better than Alien 3? Genuine question.
How?
Well, because people don't like Alien 3, right? That's kind of the film.
Yeah. So you mean is it better than the
I
film?
don't mind Alien 3, but a lot of people,
all right, yeah.
a lot of people
it's
have a
not
bit
too
of a beef with it, you know. But it's different. It's got a dog alien in it.
Yeah.
I think Alien 4 is the one that sucks.
Yeah.
Resurrection.
But let's not talk about Alien films.
Just Alien. But they're relative. They're relative. That's why.
Yeah, I kind of like this game. I never really liked it as a kid. I kind of feel like I want to like it now.
Yeah.
But it was just, you know, again, what we were saying earlier. This is a game of Alien 3 on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's kind of mental, right?
None of us should have been old enough to buy the game.
No, well, none of us should have known or cared what Alien 3 was.
I remember my folks going to the cinema to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and yet here he is on the Super Nintendo, and it's not only kind of the subject matter itself is inappropriate for children, but also the game's really fucking tough and inappropriate for children. So it's kind of an odd one, and certainly an odd one to find on a Nintendo console. But then that's kind of what Probe did.
Yeah, especially since their kind of sense of policies back there.
So, in closing, Joe, how do you feel about it?
I really hate this game, and I wish I chose my other option last week.
Rock and Roll Racing.
Yeah.
Well, good news for you, Joe.
What's that?
We're going to play Rock and Roll Racing.
I'm so excited now.
Yeah. Yeah. The stage is set, the green flag drops. That's my favourite thing about that game. So fuck you, Alien 3, David Fincher and all that lot, Probe Entertainment and Acclaim. I'm glad you're gone. No, that's not true. But yeah, Alien 3, it's like, why? Were there any other Alien games in the SNES?
Pass.
I don't think there were. I think this was maybe the only one.
Yeah, possibly.
I think there may have been Aliens vs Predator on there.
Yeah, there is AVP.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, aside from that, it's not, it's a strange one to, like we say, a strange one to put on the system. It's hardcore and hard. It's kind of claustrophobic as well. You never get like a full picture.
No, yeah, it's very limited.
You're always going through tunnels and stuff. But yeah, Joe didn't like it. Maybe you would. I don't know.
I'm going to give AVP a go.
Oh yeah, just to compare. I'm basically sick of anything with the Predator name in it.
I don't know what it's based on.
You know?
I don't think the Stephen Perry book Prey was out at that point, so it's quite interesting. It might be Dark Horse Comics, so it might be Prey. We'll check it out. I'll let you know.
Well, next week anyway, we're going to be playing Rock and Roll Racing, which is Interplay published Blizzard game. It's awesome. It's got some of the best music and, like I say, the best dialogue ever. This is a nice game, Joe. And it's about time we had a nice game that we can all kind of enjoy and play. There's no story for you to get through. You don't have to put 16 hours into it or anything like that. You can just pick this up, play it, have a blast, and move on. So,
10 minutes is much the same as 10 hours.
Yeah, exactly. But you're maybe more inclined to do 10 hours. So we'll do that in 7 days' time for more Educating Joe.
Awesome.
Okay. We just educated some Joe. Which bit do you think we educated you on?
His left pinky.
Yeah. That was the bit that needed to be done. Fucking stupid Pinky. And with that marks the end of episode 31 of Things We Play. But before we do, actually, we didn't really have a competition last week. We just had a more of a sort of like, yo, we got some shit that we need to get rid of. Anyone know? I know a guy. Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy who, if you just mention you got some stuff, he'll just come by in the middle of the night to get rid of it for you. You don't have to ask any questions. That's kind of what we were looking for. We were looking for someone to reach out to us and say, yeah, I'll take your simulating games from your good friends at Excalibur Publishing. I've heard they're awesome. And we were like, yeah, they are awesome. And you can have them. So, yeah, someone did mail in. Good old Carl Lipscomb emailed in, told us that the reason he should have these games is, and I should just check, bear with me, talk amongst yourselves. Or don't. I mean, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Letting me die here.
It's alright. This is what you're there for.
I quote, he says, the reason he should have these games is, I want games because I badass.
Because.
Yeah. So, and actually the title of the email is Excalibur Publishing. So I don't know if it was maybe even meant for us. But that's fine. Carl Lipscomb, we'll get you some games. We'll send you some out there. I can't remember exactly what the list is now, but there's definitely something simulator. And we'll look forward to hearing how you get on with those. In the meantime, Sleeping Dogs came out, and that means games are back.
Officially.
Yes. Darksiders officially comes out tomorrow. We're recording this a day early. I didn't mention that, but we're recording this on Monday night. You're still listening to it on Tuesday, hopefully. And so today, Darksiders 2 has just come out. There's also Counter-Strike Global Offensive is the Xbox Live Arcade title this week, which I'm quite interested in, Joe.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I just wonder how many people are actually going to pick it up.
I think it's probably a safe bet there's going to be one of those shooters. It's probably going to be all right. It's probably got a decent, and excuse the pun, probably got a decent amount of steam.
God.
So yeah, we'll see about that. There's also what else is coming out?
Look at the list. The list.
We posted it on the site. There's not a lot actually, but Darksiders 2 is kind of the big one.
Is enough on Friday?
Isn't there a Driving Simulator by Excalibur Publishing?
Oh, good friends Excalibur Publishing have a game, yeah. Driving Simulator 2012, which we also obviously recommend that you check out immediately. And one more thing. Oh, Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition on PC.
And you will. You will die a lot.
Yeah, you will. You will certainly a lot of that. No one played New Super Mario Brothers 2?
No. Not yet.
That was obviously out this week on 3DS, so maybe we'll have a look at that. But yeah, games are coming. From here on out, it's nothing but the moon. So yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday. This is Mike Goldman signing out, oddly, uncomfortably. Peace.
And this is Things We Play going forth.
Later.